Now, you wrote a scathing report about the RBA in April, and I'm going to quote here where you say that the RBA structure concentrates responsibility on one fallible individual, the governor, answerable to a board of non-experts with little requirement to explain or defend decisions in detail. Arguments are subject to little scrutiny either internally or externally. Whew. That's pretty harsh there. But has it always operated that way?
That's part of the problem, that the RBA still has a structure that was put in place in 1959. Other central banks around the world have evolved. They've put monetary policy experts in charge of interest rate settings. But the Reserve Bank, as you say, has not changed for decades and decades.
We don't know who's on the board of the RBA. Why the secrecy about the board? You know, I would presume that in our democratic system, why are we not privy to those who are making financial decisions that would affect our mortgages, our ability to pay for our necessities? Why the secrecy?
That's a great question, and I don't think it has a good answer. Again, that's just a historical legacy that the bank has always been secretive. It has opened up a lot, to be fair, over the last decade or two, but other central banks around the world are much more open and transparent than the RBA, and it's just about time that we opened up also.
Okay, well, what is the process for board members to be appointed?
That's a good question. The Treasurer appoints them, and the criteria for doing so are not clear to anyone. In particular, expertise in monetary policy doesn't seem to be an important requirement for setting interest rates, which is a puzzle and is not the case in other countries.
It has been reported that most of the board members have no expertise in setting monetary policy and could represent sectional interests as well. Do you think this has actually led to the sort of economic crisis that we're seeing now in Australia?
Not at the moment. I mean, the current settings of the economy, the economy is growing very strongly. We have unemployment down below 4%. Things are very good in 2022. It's doubtful that that's sustainable. The composition of the bank did have clearer problems prior to the pandemic, where they kept interest rates too high for too long. And arguably that was just a mistake in analysis, that they targeted household debt with the wrong instrument. That they used monetary policy when they should have used lending controls.
So we're about to see this RBA review take place. What would you like to see at the end of this review? What kind of recommendations?
So we've touched on some of them. I think the composition of the board is out of date and out of fashion, that we really need to appoint more monetary policy experts. We also want to do away with the secrecy that you mentioned, that votes should be public and they need to be explained. And, something like legal decisions or court decisions which are made by expert judges, and there are dissenting opinions explained so that people know the pros and cons of different decisions. There's a lot more I could go on, but they would be at the top of my list.